The glass hits the wall 3 inches from my head. I don't flinch. Not anymore. I learned that in week 1. Showing fear only makes it worse. "You call this a quarterly report, Miss Baptiste?" His voice cuts through the boardroom like a blade dipped in ice water. "My 12-year-old nephew could compile better data than this garbage." I stand there, hands folded, eyes down. The shattered glass glitters on the marble floor like tiny diamonds. 37 executives sit frozen in their leather chairs, grateful it's me and not them today. "Mr. Castellanos," I say quietly, "the report contains every metric you requested. If there's a specific section you'd like me to, I don't want excuses." He rises from his chair, all 6 feet 4 inches of him, custom Italian suit moving like liquid shadow. "I want competence. Can you spell that word?" My jaw tightens. I can feel everyone watching, waiting for me to crack like the others. 3 assistants quit this month alone. One actually ran out crying during a meeting about office supplies. But I can't quit. I think about Malik lying in that hospital bed back in Atlanta, his little face so pale against the white sheets. The doctor said 6 months, maybe less, without the surgery. Insurance denied the claim twice. I need this job. I need every single dollar of this nightmare. "Yes, sir," I whisper. "I can spell it." Something flickers in his dark eyes. Surprise, maybe. Or annoyance that I didn't break. Hi, viewers. Kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family. The other executives start breathing again when he sits back down. He waves his hand like he's swatting a fly. "Get out of my sight. Have the corrected version on my desk by 6. And Ms. Baptiste?" He doesn't look up from his phone. "Next time you waste my time, don't bother coming back." I gather the scattered papers, my hand steady even though my heart pounds like a drum. As I bend down to pick up the last sheet, I catch Senior VP Marcuschin staring at me with something that looks almost like respect. Or pity. Hard to tell in this building. The elevator doors finally close, and I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. My reflection stares back at me from the polished steel. 23 years old, Goodwill blazer, hair pulled back so tight it gives me headaches, eyes that used to dream big but now just try to survive the day. "Rough morning?" The security guard, Tommy, gives me a sympathetic smile when I pass the lobby desk. "Just another Tuesday," I say. He shakes his head. "You're the 5th assistant this year, you know. Nobody lasts longer than 3 weeks with Castellanos. What's your secret?" I think about Malik's voice on the phone last night, asking when I'm coming home, telling me about the new pain medication that makes him sleepy. I think about Mama working double shifts at the diner, her hands raw from dishwater, counting every penny. "I don't have a choice," I tell Tommy. And it's the truest thing I've said all day. Back at my desk outside Castellanos' office, I open the report again. I spent 40 hours on this document. Checked every number twice. Cross-referenced every source. It's perfect. But perfect doesn't matter here. What matters is surviving until Friday, until the paycheck clears, until I can send money home for Malik's medication. My phone buzzes. "Mama, doctor called. They want to schedule consult for next month. Need deposit. How much can you send?" My chest gets tight. The deposit is $3,000. I have $800 in my account. "Ms. Baptiste." His voice crackles through the intercom, making me jump. "My office. Now!" I save my work and stand up, smoothing down my skirt. Whatever's coming, I can take it. I've survived worse than Darius Castellanos and his glass-throwing temper. But when I walk into his office, he's not angry. He's watching me with this strange expression, like he's trying to solve a puzzle. "Close the door," he says quietly. And suddenly, I'm not sure survival is going to be enough. What would you do if your boss threw a glass at your head? Drop a comment below and let me know if you think Amara should stay or quit. The door clicks shut behind me, and the temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. Darius Castellanos doesn't move from behind his massive ebony desk. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame him like a painting, powerful, untouchable, dangerous. Manhattan spreads out below us, 40 stories of steel and glass and people who would kill for a chance to breathe this rarefied air. I'm not one of those people. I'm just trying not to drown. Sit, he says. I perch on the edge of the chair across from him, back straight, hands in my lap. Professional. Invisible. Exactly what survived in this building. He slides a folder across the desk. Your personnel file. My stomach drops. This is it. I'm fired. 3 weeks of hell for nothing, and now I have to go home and tell Mama I failed, tell Malik. You graduated top of your class at Spelman, he says, flipping through pages. Double major in business administration and nonprofit management. Turned down positions at 3 Fortune 500 companies. His eyes lift to meet mine. So why are you here, fetching my coffee and filing my paperwork? The question hangs in the air like smoke. I could tell him the truth. About Malik's diagnosis. About the medical bills that turned our lives into a nightmare. About how those Fortune 500 companies wanted me to start in 6 months, and I needed money now, immediately, desperately. But truth is a luxury I can't afford. The position offered growth opportunities, I say carefully. His laugh is sharp and humorless. Growth opportunities. Is that what we're calling it? He leans back in his chair, studying me like I'm a balance sheet that doesn't quite add up. You're lying, Miss Baptiste. And you're terrible at it. He creeps up my neck. Sir, everyone in this building is terrified of me. He interrupts. They jump when I speak. They cry when I criticize. They quit when I push. He tilts his head slightly. But not you. You just stand there, taking it. Like you're made of stone instead of flesh. I don't know what to say to that, so I say nothing. I'm curious. He continues, voice dropping lower. What breaks someone like you? What would make Amara Baptiste finally crack? The way he says my full name makes something cold slither down my spine. Like he's been thinking about me. Studying me. And that's worse than the anger, worse than the insults, worse than flying glass. Is there something specific you need, Mr. Castellanos? My voice comes out steady. Good. I have the report revisions to complete by 6. For a long moment, he just watches me. Then he pulls out his phone and taps something. My own phone buzzes in my pocket. Check it, he says. I pull out my phone, fingers fumbling slightly. An email notification glows on the screen. From Castellanos Global Enterprises. Subject line, personnel reassignment. My heart stops. You're being moved, he says before I can open it. Effective immediately, you're no longer my executive assistant. The room tilts. I grip the chair arm to steady myself. This is worse than being fired. This is being demoted, humiliated, sent back down to some basement filing position where I'll make half the salary and Malik's surgery will slip further and further out of reach. You'll be heading our youth outreach program, he continues, and now there's something different in his voice. Something I can't identify. It's a non-profit initiative my mother started before she died. Pays the same as your current position. Better benefits. More reasonable hours. I blink at him, confused. I don't understand. My mother believed in second chances, he says, and for just a second, something cracks in that frozen exterior. Something human. She also believed in recognizing talent before it gets destroyed by. He gestures vaguely at the office, at himself. All of this. Why? The question escapes before I can stop it. Why would you do this? He stands up, turning to face the window, hands in his pockets. Because you remind me of someone. Someone who deserved better than what she got. His reflection in the glass looks almost vulnerable. Almost. And because watching you take my abuse with that quiet dignity makes me feel like the monster everyone says I am. The confession stuns me into silence. The position starts Monday, he says, voice returning to its usual coldness. HR will send the details. You're dismissed. I should leave. Should take this miracle and run before he changes his mind. But something holds me in place. Mr. Castellanos, I say softly. Thank you. He doesn't turn around. Don't thank me, Ms. Baptiste. Just don't let me regret this decision. I walk back to my desk in a daze. The email contains everything he promised. New title, same salary, health benefits that actually cover pre-existing conditions. I read it 3 times to make sure it's real. My phone rings. Mama's number. Amara? Baby, the hospital called again about the deposit. I got it, Mama. I say, and for the first time in months, I'm smiling. We're going to be okay. But as I glance back at Castellanos' closed office door, I can't shake the feeling that this is just the beginning of something I don't understand yet. Something that might save me. Or destroy me completely. Do you think Darius is genuinely trying to help Amara? Or does he have an ulterior motive? Comment your theories below. Monday morning, I walk into a completely different world. The youth outreach program operates from the 5th floor. No marble, no intimidating executives, just bright walls covered in children's artwork and the smell of fresh paint. My new office is small but mine, with an actual door and a window overlooking a community garden. You must be Amara. A woman with silver locks and the warmest smile I've ever seen extends her hand. I'm Keisha Brooks, Program Coordinator. We've been praying for someone like you to join us. I shake her hand, still feeling like I'm dreaming. Someone like me. Someone who actually cares, she says simply. The last director treated this place like a tax write-off. Kids could tell. They need someone real. She shows me around. The tutoring center where volunteers help with homework. The art room where teens paint murals about their neighborhoods. The computer lab where a coding class is underway. Everywhere we go, kids look up and wave at Keisha. She knows all their names. This is your domain now, she tells me as we return to my office. Castellanos doesn't come down here. Ever. It was his mother's project, and I think it hurts him to see it. So you've got freedom to run things however you want, long as the quarterly reports look good. I spend the morning reviewing budgets and program schedules, and for the first time since taking this job, I'm not watching the clock, dreading the next moment. I'm actually excited. Around noon, my phone buzzes. An internal call from the executive floor. Ms. Baptiste, Darius's assistant says crisply. Mr. Castellanos wants to see you. Immediately. My stomach clenches. Of course. I should have known better than to think I'd escaped. When I reach the 40th floor, everything comes flooding back. The tension, the fear, the sound of breaking glass. His assistant, a nervous young man named Jeremy, practically pushes me toward the office door. He's been in a mood all morning, Jeremy whispers. Good luck. I knock twice and enter. Darius is on the phone, barking orders about some merger. He gestures impatiently for me to sit without looking at me. I wait, hands folded, breathing steady. 3 minutes pass. 5. This is a power play, making me wait to remind me who's in charge. Finally, he ends the call and turns to face me. The youth program needs to present at the annual shareholders meeting next month. Convince our investors that their money is being put to good use. Of course, I say. I'll prepare a presentation. You'll present it personally, he interrupts. In front of 300 people, including several board members who think nonprofit initiatives are a waste of corporate resources. Ah, there is the real test. He wants to see if I'll crumble under pressure. I can do that, I tell him. His eyebrow raises slightly. You're not nervous? I presented my senior thesis to a panel of business executives and city council members. I say, I think I can handle your shareholders. Something flickers across his face. Amusement, maybe. Or respect. It's gone too quickly to tell. We'll see. He turns back to his computer, dismissing me. But I don't move. Mr. Castellanos, I say carefully. Can I ask you something? His jaw tightens. Nobody questions him. Nobody pushes. But he doesn't tell me to leave. What? Why did your mother start the youth program? The silence that follows is heavy and dangerous. I've crossed a line. I know it. But I need to understand this man if I'm going to survive in his orbit. She grew up in the Bronx, he says finally, voice flat. Watched her brother get killed in a drive-by when he was 16. She believed if kids had opportunities, resources, someone who actually gave a damn, maybe they wouldn't end up like him. The raw pain in those words catches me off guard. I'm sorry, I say softly. Don't be sorry, he snaps, that coldness returning. Just make sure those kids get what they need. Make sure her legacy means something. I will, I promise. He looks at me then, really looks at me, and something passes between us. An understanding maybe. Or a warning. You can go, he says. I stand up to leave, but his voice stops me at the door. Ms. Baptiste? Your brother. The one who needs surgery. My blood turns to ice. How does he know about Malik? Our new health benefits include a medical assistance program, he continues, eyes fixed on his screen. For employee family members with serious conditions. Have HR send you the paperwork. I can't breathe. Can't speak. Can't process what he just said. Thank you, I finally whisper. He doesn't respond. Doesn't acknowledge the tears I'm blinking back. Just waves his hand in that dismissive gesture I've come to know so well. But as I close the door behind me, I catch his reflection in the window. And for just a second, he looks less like a monster and more like a man carrying weight he never asked for. I'm starting to realize Darius Castellanos isn't what everyone thinks he is. And that terrifies me more than his anger ever did. What do you think Darius is really up to? Is he falling for Amara? Or is this all part of some bigger plan? Let us know in the comments. 3 weeks into my new position, everything changes again. The youth program is thriving. We've enrolled 15 new kids in the coding class, expanded the art program, and secured partnerships with 2 local high schools. Keisha keeps telling me I'm a miracle worker, but really I'm just doing what makes sense. Listening to what the kids actually need instead of making assumptions. Friday afternoon, I'm reviewing scholarship applications when my phone rings. Unknown number. Is this Amara Baptiste? A woman's voice, professional but cold. Yes, this is she. This is Sandra Chen from New York Metropolitan Magazine. We're running a piece on Castellanos Global Enterprises, and I'd like to ask you a few questions about your relationship with Darius Castellanos. My heart stops. My relationship? I work for his company. That's all. Really? Papers rustle on her end. Because we've received information that you were recently transferred from executive assistant to program director after only 3 weeks. We've also learned that Mr. Castellanos personally arranged for your brother's medical expenses to be covered. That's quite unusual, don't you think? The room spins. Who told you that? We protect our sources. she says smoothly. But several employees have come forward with concerns about favoritism and inappropriate workplace relationships. Would you like to comment on the nature of your connection with Mr. Castellanos? There is no connection, I say firmly. Mr. Castellanos recognized my qualifications and placed me where I could be most effective. That's all. So you're denying that there's anything romantic or sexual between you? Rage floods through me, hot and sharp. I'm denying that any of this is your business. And if you print anything suggesting otherwise, you'll hear from our legal team. I hang up before she can respond, hand shaking. This is bad. Really bad. In today's climate, even the suggestion of impropriety can destroy careers. And mine is just beginning. I need to tell Darius before the article runs. I take the elevator to the 40th floor, rehearsing what to say. But when I reach his office, voices are already raised inside. You're being reckless. A man's voice, deep and angry. Through the glass, I can see Senior VP Marcus gesturing aggressively. Transferring the girl, paying for her brother's medical bills. Do you have any idea how this looks? I don't care how it looks. Darius's voice is deadly calm. I care about running an ethical company. Ethical? Marcus laughs bitterly. You threw a glass at her head in front of 30 witnesses. And now you're giving her promotions and financial assistance? The optics are terrible. What I did was wrong, Darius says, and the admission stuns me. I was cruel to someone who didn't deserve it. I'm trying to make it right. By making it look like she's sleeping her way to the top? Marcus shakes his head. Think about what this does to her reputation. To yours. The board is already asking questions. I should leave. Should come back later. But I'm frozen, listening to them argue about my life like I'm not a real person with real feelings. The board can ask all they want, Darius says. Ms. Baptiste earned her position. End of discussion. Is it though? Marcus's voice drops lower. Because I've worked with you for 10 years, and I've never seen you show this much interest in anyone. Ever. So either you're genuinely trying to help her, which is completely out of character, or what? Darius's voice turns dangerous. Or you're falling for her, Marcus says bluntly. And that's going to destroy you both. The silence that follows is suffocating. Get out of my office, Darius finally says. Marcus storms out, nearly colliding with me in the hallway. He stops, eyes widening when he sees me standing there. How much did you hear? He asks. Enough, I say quietly. He studies me for a moment, then sighs. Look, I don't know what's going on between you two. Maybe nothing. Maybe something. But Amara? Be careful. Darius Castellanos is brilliant, and he's generous when he wants to be, but he's also damaged in ways you can't fix. And in this industry, perception matters more than truth. He walks away, leaving me alone in the hallway. I should leave. Should pretend I never heard any of this. But instead, I knock on Darius's door. What? He barks. I push the door open. He's standing at the window, shoulders tense, one hand pressed against the glass like he's trying to hold up the sky. A reporter called me, I say. From Metropolitan Magazine. They're writing a story about us. He turns slowly, face unreadable. What kind of story? The kind that destroys reputations, I say. They're implying that you and that there's something inappropriate happening. His jaw tightens. There isn't. I know that, I say. You know that. But it doesn't matter. Once the story runs, everyone will believe what they want to believe. He crosses the room until he's standing directly in front of me, close enough that I can see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes, smell his cologne, something expensive and subtle. What do you want me to do? He asks quietly. Fire you? Send you back to executive assistant? Pretend I never tried to help? I want you to tell me the truth, I say, meeting his gaze. Why are you really doing this? Because if Marcus is right, if there's something more here, I need to know now before this gets worse. The air between us feels electric, charged with questions neither of us wants to answer. You remind me of her, he finally says. My mother. The way you stand up for yourself without cruelty. The way you actually care about those kids downstairs. The way you... He stops Joe working. You make me remember what it felt like before everything turned cold. My heart hammers against my ribs. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have, he says. We stand there, inches apart, while Manhattan glitters outside and somewhere a reporter is writing a story that could ruin us both. And I realize Marcus was right about one thing. Perception matters more than truth. But he was wrong about something else. I'm not the one who needs to be careful. Is Darius telling Amara everything, or is he hiding something deeper? And what will happen when that article drops? Drop your predictions in the comments. The article hits Tuesday morning like a bomb. I'm on the subway heading to work when my phone explodes with notifications. Text messages. Emails. Missed calls. I open the first text from Keisha. Don't come in today. It's bad. My hands shake as I pull up the article. Virgin Territory. Young secretary climbs corporate ladder through Castellanos' bedroom. The headline makes me physically ill. I skim the piece, each word a knife twisting deeper. Sources close to Castellanos Global Enterprises confirm that 23-year-old Amara Baptiste received unprecedented promotions and financial benefits after catching CO Darius Castellanos' eye. One anonymous employee described Baptiste as inexperienced and unqualified, while another suggested the relationship began during her brief tenure as his executive assistant. They make it sound dirty, cheap, like I'm some calculating woman who used innocence as a weapon. But the worst part comes near the end. When reached for comment, several employees confirmed that Baptiste, who identifies as a devout Christian, frequently mentioned her commitment to abstinence. She made a big deal about her virginity, one source stated. So either she's a hypocrite, or Castellanos is paying for something other than her professional services. I'm going to be sick. The train lurches to a stop and I stumble off, gasping for air. People stare at me on the platform. Do they recognize me? Do they know? My phone rings. Mama. Baby, what is this mess I'm reading online? Her voice shakes with fear and anger. They're saying terrible things about you and some man. It's not true, Mama. I choke out. None of it is true. Then why are they writing it? She's crying now. Baby, come home. Just come home. We'll figure out Malik's surgery some other way. But there is no other way. I spent 2 years researching options, applying for assistance programs, begging insurance companies. This job was our miracle. And now it's our nightmare. I have to go, I tell her. I'll call you back. I hang up before she can argue and call Darius's direct line. It rings 4 times before he answers. Where are you? His voice is rough, strained. Midtown Station. I can't come in. Stay there, he orders. I'm sending a car. Darius, Stay there, Amara. He hangs up. 20 minutes later, a black town car pulls up. The driver opens the door without a word, and we slide into Manhattan traffic. But we don't go to Castellanos Global. Instead, we drive to a private office building in Chelsea. Darius is waiting in a conference room, tie loosened, hair disheveled like he's been running his hands through it. A woman in a sharp suit sits beside him, late 50s, expression severe. This is Rebecca Walsh, Darius says. Best defamation attorney in New York. Rebecca doesn't waste time on pleasantries. The article is actionable. Multiple false statements, clearly malicious intent. We can sue for damages and demand a retraction. But? I say, because there's always a but. But a lawsuit keeps the story alive, she admits. Draws more attention. And discovery means they'll subpoena every email, every text message, every interaction between you and Mr. Castellanos. Even if you win, the process will be brutal. I sink into a chair, head in my hands. So what do I do? You could resign, Rebecca says carefully. Leave the company. Let the story die down. In 6 months, no one will remember. No. Darius's voice cuts through the room like a whip. She is not resigning. She earned her position. Darius, be realistic, Rebecca argues. The board is meeting this afternoon. They're going to demand action. Then I'll give them action, he says coldly. I'll resign. My head snaps up. What? He's standing now, pacing like a caged animal. I'm the problem. My reputation. My past behavior. If I step down, the focus shifts away from you. That's insane, I say, finding my voice. You built that company. It's your legacy. My mother's legacy is downstairs on the 5th floor. He corrects me. And I won't let them destroy you to get to me. Rebecca looks between us, something calculating in her expression. There is a third option. Risky, but potentially effective. What? We say simultaneously. Tell the truth, she says simply. Hold a press conference. Explain exactly what happened, the abuse, the transfer, the medical assistance. Own the narrative before they control it. Darius shakes his head. That exposes Amara to more scrutiny. I'm already exposed. I point out. At least this way, people hear my voice instead of anonymous sources. Rebecca nods. We can coordinate it carefully. Show documentation, your qualifications, the program success metrics, proof that everything was above board. Mr. Castellanos admits to his initial poor treatment and explains the corrective action. You demonstrate professional competence. We flip the story from scandal to redemption. It could work. Or it could make everything worse. What do you think? Darius asks me quietly. I look at him, really look at him. This man who threw glass at my head and then gave me a future. Who built walls around his heart but can't stop them from crumbling. Who's willing to sacrifice everything to protect someone he barely knows. Or maybe knows better than anyone. I think your mother would want us to fight. I say. Something breaks in his expression, relief and pain and something else I can't name. Then we fight. He says. Rebecca makes calls, schedules the press conference for Thursday. 2 days to prepare. 2 days to decide exactly how much truth we're willing to tell. As the lawyer steps out to coordinate logistics, Darius and I are alone in the conference room. I'm sorry, he says quietly. This is my fault. All of it. It's not your fault people are cruel. I tell him. It's not your fault they see a young black woman with opportunity and assume she didn't earn it. But I made it worse. He insists. The way I treated you initially. If I'd just been professional from the start, then maybe I wouldn't have this job. I interrupt. Maybe you wouldn't have noticed my qualifications. Maybe your mother's program would still be dying slowly while some director collected a paycheck. I take a breath. I'm not glad you were terrible to me, but I'm not sorry for where we ended up. He moves closer, stopping just short of touching me. Marcus thinks I'm falling for you. My heart stops. Are you? The silence stretches between us, heavy with everything we're not saying. I don't know, he finally admits. All I know is that when I saw that article, when I imagined you reading those lies about yourself, His voice drops. I wanted to burn the whole city down. I should step back. Should maintain professional distance. Should remember that we're already under a microscope and any hint of impropriety will destroy us both. But I don't move. Darius, I whisper. What are we doing? His phone rings before he can answer, the board demanding his presence immediately. He ignores it. Whatever happens Thursday, he says. Whatever they say or write or believe. I want you to know you changed something in me. Something I thought was dead. Then he's gone, leaving me alone with questions that terrify me more than any article ever could. Because Rebecca was wrong about one thing. The truth won't set us free. The truth might destroy us. The press conference is in 2 days. Do you think Amara and Darius should tell everything, or keep some secrets buried? Comment below and let us know what you would do. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because the next chapter changes everything. The board meeting is already underway when I arrive. I'm not supposed to be here. Rebecca explicitly told me to stay away, let Darius handle the executives alone. But I heard it in his voice this morning, resignation. Like he'd already decided to throw himself on the sword. And I can't let that happen. Security tries to stop me at the conference room door, but I push past anyway. 12 board members sit around a mahogany table that probably costs more than my childhood home. They all turn to stare as I enter. Ms. Baptiste, Chairman Robert Thornton says coldly. This is a closed meeting. I know, I say, forcing my voice steady. But you're discussing my future without me in the room. That's not happening. Darius is standing at the head of the table, looking both furious and impressed. Amara, you shouldn't. With all due respect, sir, I'm tired of people making decisions about my life like I'm not capable of speaking for myself. I turn to face the board. You want to fire me because a tabloid magazine printed lies? Fine. Do it. But at least have the courage to look me in the eye when you destroy my career. Robert adjusts his glasses, studying me like I'm an interesting insect. Young lady, this isn't about courage. It's about protecting the company's reputation. By sacrificing mine? I shoot back. By confirming every ugly assumption people make about young black women in corporate spaces, that we only succeed through manipulation or worse. A woman at the far end, Victoria Chin, Marcus's mother, and one of the company's founding partners, leans forward. No one is saying that. You don't have to say it. I tell her. The silence says it for you. I have a degree from Spelman. I graduated with honors. I turned down 3 corporate positions to take a temporary assistant job because my 11-year-old brother has leukemia and I needed immediate income. Mr. Castellanos recognized my qualifications and moved me to a position where I could actually make a difference. That's the truth. Everything else is gossip and assumption. The room falls quiet. Several board members exchange glances. The youth program has enrolled 42 new participants since I took over. I continue, pulling out my phone to display the metrics. Graduation rates among our kids increased by 30%. We secured 4 new corporate partnerships and expanded into 3 additional neighborhoods. Those are facts. Memorable results, not scandal. Robert clears his throat. Ms. Baptiste, your work isn't in question. But the perception is exactly what we're fighting. Darius interrupts, his voice cutting through the room. And I won't ask Amara to pay the price for my past mistakes. He looks directly at Robert. I threw a glass at her head in front of 30 witnesses. I was cruel, unprofessional, and abusive. The fact that she didn't sue this company into oblivion shows more grace than I deserve. Victoria's eyes widen. You did what? He was having a bad day. I say quickly, trying to soften it. No, Darius says firmly. I was being exactly who I'd become, A man who confused fear with respect. My mother built this company on different principles. She believed in lifting people up, not tearing them down. Amara reminded me of that. So yes, I moved her to a position where her actual skills could shine. Yes, I approved medical assistance for her brother through a program my mother created specifically for situations like this. And if that makes me guilty of favoritism, then fine. I'm guilty. The board members murmur among themselves. Marcus's mother leans back in her chair, expression unreadable. The press conference is scheduled for tomorrow, Rebecca says from the corner where she's been observing silently. We present the facts, show documentation, and get ahead of this narrative. Or we can cancel it, accept the resignation Mr. Castellanos submitted this morning, and let the story die slowly while Ms. Baptiste's reputation remains in question. He submitted what? I spin to face Darius. His jaw tightens. It's already done. Anger floods through me, hot and sharp. You had no right. I have every right to protect you, he says. By destroying yourself? My voice rises. By letting them win? We're standing there, facing each other across the conference table, while 12 powerful executives watch like we're performing a play. And maybe we are. Maybe this whole thing has been theater from the beginning. I vote we proceed with the press conference, Victoria says suddenly. Everyone turns to her. If what you're both saying is true, then we owe it to ourselves and this company to set the record straight. Darius, your resignation is tabled pending the outcome. Ms. Baptiste, you keep your position regardless. We don't bow to tabloid pressure. Other board members nod slowly. Robert looks like he wants to argue but can't find solid ground. All in favor? Victoria asks. 8 hands rise. 4 abstain. None oppose. Motion carries, she declares. Rebecca, coordinate everything. Darius, Amara, don't make me regret this. The meeting adjourns and board members file out, some avoiding eye contact, others nodding respectfully as they pass me. When the room finally empties, only Darius and I remain. You shouldn't have come, he says quietly. You shouldn't have tried to quit. I counter. He moves around the table until we're standing close, too close for professional distance, but not close enough for what I actually want. I can't protect you if I'm the problem, he says. And I can't let you sacrifice everything because people are cruel, I reply. We're in this together now, whether you like it or not. His hand lifts like he's going to touch my face, then drops. Tomorrow changes everything. I know. If this goes wrong, then we face it together, I interrupt. That's what your mother would have wanted. That's what's right. He studies my face for a long moment, and I see everything he's not saying, the fear, the hope, the feelings neither of us can acknowledge yet. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., he finally says. Don't be late. I leave the conference room with my heart pounding and my future balanced on a nice edge. But for the first time since this nightmare started, I'm not afraid. Because whatever tomorrow brings, at least I'll be facing it on my own terms. Do you think the press conference will save them or destroy them? What would you say if you were standing in front of those cameras? Drop your thoughts below. The press conference room is packed with reporters who smell blood in the water. I stand backstage with Rebecca, watching through a monitor as they set up cameras and microphones. My hands won't stop shaking. I've changed outfits 3 times. 2 formal, 2 casual, 2 defensive. I finally settled on a navy dress with a blazer. Professional. Dignified. Not apologetic. Remember? Rebecca says, reviewing talking points one last time. Stick to facts. Don't get emotional. If they ask about your personal relationship with Darius, redirect to the professional aspects. And whatever you do, don't let them bait you into anger. Easy for you to say, I mutter. She gives me a sharp look. You walked into a board meeting uninvited and changed their minds with pure conviction. You can handle a room full of reporters. Darius appears from the other entrance, wearing a charcoal suit that makes him look every inch the powerful CO. But his eyes find mine immediately, and I see the worry there. Ready? He asks. No, I admit. But let's do it anyway. We walk out together, and the camera flashes explode like fireworks. Questions fly before we even reach the podium. Mr. Castellanos, are you in a romantic relationship with Ms. Baptiste? Amara, how do you respond to accusations that you used your virginity to manipulate? Did the company pay hush money? Darius raises one hand, and the room gradually quiets. The power he commands is almost physical. Thank you all for coming, he begins, voice steady and cold. I'm here to address the recent article in Metropolitan magazine and set the record straight. He pauses, letting the silence build. Everything they printed was fiction designed to sell papers. Here are the facts. He walks through it systematically. My qualifications, the youth program success, the medical assistance program his mother established. He shows charts, metrics, documentation. It's clinical, professional, impossible to argue with. Then he does something Rebecca didn't expect. I also want to address my own behavior, he says, and I can feel Rebecca tense beside me. 3 months ago, I threw a glass across a conference room in anger. It shattered against the wall, inches from Ms. Baptiste's head. In front of 30 employees, I berated her, humiliated her, and made her feel worthless. Not because she deserved it, but because I'd become the kind of man who mistakes cruelty for strength. The room erupts. Reporters shout questions over each other. Darius doesn't flinch. My mother built this company on principles I'd forgotten: respect, dignity, opportunity. When I saw those qualities in Miss Baptiste despite how I treated her, I realized I had a choice. Continue being a monster, or try to be the leader my mother raised me to be. I chose the latter. That's not a scandal. That's accountability. He steps back and gestures for me to approach the microphone. My legs feel like water, but I make them move. I grip the podium to steady myself. My name is Amara Baptiste, I say, and my voice doesn't shake. I'm 23 years old. I have a degree in business administration and nonprofit management from Spelman College. I took a temporary assistant position because my younger brother Malik has leukemia and I needed income immediately to help pay for his treatment. I look directly into the cameras. I didn't sleep my way into anything. I didn't manipulate anyone. I worked. I endured. And when I was given an opportunity to actually use my education, I took it. That's not a scandal. That's survival. A reporter in the front row stands. Ms. Baptiste, sources say you frequently discussed your religious beliefs and commitment to abstinence with coworkers. Do you think that contributed to the perception? The perception that a young black woman can't possibly earn success through merit? I interrupt. Yes. Absolutely. Because we live in a world that's more comfortable believing I'm either a victim or a manipulator than accepting I might just be good at my job. Another reporter jumps in. But you can understand why people question the timeline. Promoted after only 3 weeks. Medical benefits for a family member. I can understand prejudice when I see it, I say firmly. And I can also understand that no one questioned the white male executive who got promoted after 2 weeks last year, or the VP whose daughter's wedding was paid for by corporate funds. But a black woman gets recognition for actual results, and suddenly everyone's concerned about ethics. The room goes silent. I can feel Darius watching me, probably worried I've gone too far. But I'm done being quiet. The youth program Mr. Castellanos' mother started serves primarily black and brown kids from underserved communities. I continue. Under previous management, it was failing. In 3 months, we've turned it around. We've given 42 kids opportunities they wouldn't have had otherwise. We've partnered with schools, secured funding, and actually made a difference. That's what you should be writing about. Not gossip. Not assumptions. Impact. I step back from the microphone, heart racing. Rebecca approaches to field technical questions, and Darius's hand briefly touches my lower back. A gesture so quick I might have imagined it, but the warmth lingers. The press conference continues for another 20 minutes. Some reporters seem genuinely interested in the facts. Others keep fishing for scandal. But by the end, the narrative has shifted just enough. When we finally escape backstage, I collapse into a chair, adrenaline crashing. "You were incredible," Darius says softly. "I was terrified," I admit. "You were both," Rebecca says, checking her phone. "And early social media response is actually positive. People are calling you brave. Authentic. The hashtag Stop Assuming is trending." Relief floods through me. So intense I feel dizzy. "We're not out of the woods yet," Rebecca warns. "Metropolitan will probably respond. Other outlets might dig deeper. But you've taken control of the story. That's huge." Darius kneels in front of my chair, bringing us eye to eye. "I meant what I said up there. About accountability. About change." "I know," I whisper. His hand covers mine on the armrest. "When this is over, when the dust settles, and we can breathe again, we need to talk. Really talk." "About what?" I ask, even though I know. "About why I can't stop thinking about you," he says quietly. "About why every time you walk into a room, I forget how to be cold. About what happens next if these feelings aren't just in my head." My breath catches. This is dangerous. Reckless. Everything we just told those reporters could be undermined if anything romantic develops between us. But I also can't pretend I don't feel it too. This pull, this connection that started with broken glass and somehow became something neither of us expected. One crisis at a time, I finally say. He nods, understanding. One crisis at a time. But as he stands and helps me to my feet, our hands linger together just a moment too long. And I realize the biggest scandal might not be what they wrote about us. It might be what's actually starting to happen. The press conference is over, but the real test begins now. Will Amara and Darius survive the aftermath, or will their feelings destroy everything they just fought for? Comment your predictions. 2 weeks after the press conference, life almost feels normal. The Metropolitan magazine printed a half-hearted retraction buried on page 12. 3 other outlets ran positive pieces about the youth program. My inbox overflows with emails from other nonprofits wanting to partner with us, and the coding class now has a waiting list. Malik's surgery is scheduled for next month. The doctors are optimistic. Everything should be perfect. Except Darius and I haven't been alone together since that moment backstage. We see each other in meetings, exchange emails about program updates, pass in hallways with professional nods. But the careful distance feels like its own kind of torture. Wanting something you can't have, knowing the person across the room feels it too. Friday evening, I'm the last one in the office. Everyone else escaped early for the weekend, but I'm reviewing scholarship applications for next semester. The foundation received over 200 submissions. I can only fund 30. A knock on my doorframe makes me look up. Darius stands there, tie loosened, looking exhausted and beautiful and completely off limits. "Working late?" he asks. "Could say the same about you," I reply. He steps inside, closing the door behind him. My pulse immediately kicks up. "I've been avoiding you," he says bluntly. I noticed. Because every time I see you, I want to. He stops Joe working. I want things I shouldn't want. Things that could ruin everything we built. I set down my pen carefully. What kind of things? He crosses the room slowly, deliberately, until he's standing beside my desk. I want to know what you think about when you can't sleep. I want to hear you laugh at something that isn't professional or measured. I want to take you to dinner somewhere nobody knows us and talk about things that have nothing to do with quarterly reports. My heart hammers against my ribs. Darius, I know, he says quickly. I know all the reasons this is a terrible idea. The company, your career, the fact that I was horrible to you and probably don't deserve a second chance at anything, let alone this. You're not that person anymore, I say softly. Because of you, he insists. You made me want to be better. I stand up slowly, and we're face to face now, close enough that I can see the gold flecks in his dark eyes, smell his cologne mixed with coffee and ambition. If we do this, I say carefully, everything changes. Again, people will say I was right all along, that I manipulated my way into your life. Let them, he says. I'm tired of living for other people's opinions. Your board doesn't control my personal life. The youth program will thrive because you're brilliant at what you do, not because of who you're dating. The word dating makes something flutter in my chest. Is that what we be doing? I ask. Dating? His hand lifts to my face, thumb brushing my cheekbone so gently I almost stop breathing. I'd like to try. If you want that too. I should be smart. Should consider all the angles, all the potential fallout. Should remember that workplace romances, especially with this much power and balance, rarely end well. But when he looks at me like I'm the only real thing in his manufactured world, smart seems less important than honest. I want that too, I whisper. He smiles, a real smile, not the corporate mask he wears in meetings. Then we'll be careful. We'll be professional in public. We'll make sure nobody can ever say you didn't earn everything you have. And if they say it anyway, then we'll know the truth, he says. And that will be enough. He leans down slowly, giving me time to change my mind, time to step back. But I don't move. Don't breathe. Just wait for the moment his lips touch mine, and the whole world shifts on its axis. The kiss is gentle at first, tentative, like we're both afraid to break something fragile. Then his hand slides to the back of my neck, and I grip his shirt and gentle becomes urgent, desperate. Everything we've been holding back for weeks finally finding release. When we finally pull apart, we're both breathing hard. We should probably set some ground rules, I say, trying to think clearly through the haze. Probably, he agrees, but he's smiling. No public displays of affection at work. Separate cars to company events. We keep professional boundaries during business hours. Agreed, he says. And I take you to dinner tomorrow night. Somewhere in Brooklyn where nobody knows us. Just Amara and Darius, not boss and employee. The thought makes me giddy. What will we even talk about? Everything, he says simply. I want to know everything about you. My phone buzzes on the desk, Mama calling. Reality crashes back in. I should take this, I say reluctantly. He nods, stepping back to give me space, but not leaving the room. Hey, Mama, I answer. Baby, the hospital called. They can move Malik's surgery up to next week if we can get there. Some scheduling change freed up time with the specialist. Her voice trembles with hope and fear. Can you come home? My stomach drops. Next week means missing critical program meetings, missing the site visit from our biggest potential donor, missing everything I've been working toward. But it also means Malik gets treatment sooner. Means we don't spend another month watching him get weaker. Of course I can, I tell her. I'll book a flight tonight. When I hang up, Darius is watching me with concern. Your brother? I explain quickly, trying not to let panic show. I'll only need a few days. Keisha can handle the donor meeting, and I can work remotely. Amara, he interrupts gently. Go home. Stay as long as Malik needs. The program will survive a week without you. But the donor, I'll handle the donor meeting personally, he says firmly. Your family comes first. Always. Tears prick my eyes. Thank you. He pulls me into a hug, and I let myself lean against him for just a moment, drawing strength from his solid presence. Call me when you land, he says against my hair. Let me know how he's doing. I nod against his chest, breathing in his scent one more time before pulling away. As I pack up my desk and head for the subway, my phone buzzes with a text from him. You're not alone in this. Whatever happens, we face it together. I smile despite my worry, despite the uncertainty, despite everything. Because for the first time in my life, I actually believe someone has my back. And that changes everything. Malik's surgery is happening next week, but will Amara be able to handle everything that's coming? And what happens when she returns to New York? Keep watching to find out. The surgery takes 7 hours. I sit in the hospital waiting room with Mama, both of us gripping each other's hands so tight our knuckles turn white. The walls are that particular shade of green that's supposed to be calming, but just makes everything feel more sterile, more frightening. My phone buzzes every 30 minutes, Darius checking in, asking if there's news, reminding me to eat something even though food seems impossible right now. He's a good man, Mama says, watching me type a response. Who? I play innocent. She gives me the look mother's perfect over decades. The man who's been texting you constantly. The one who approved Malik's medical coverage. The one you're trying not to smile about even while your baby brother is in surgery. I set down my phone. It's complicated. Love usually is, she says simply. I didn't say anything about love. Her hand squeezes mine. Baby, I've been watching you sacrifice everything for this family for 2 years. Working yourself to exhaustion, giving up your dreams, carrying weight you're too young to carry. And for the first time since this nightmare started, I see something in your eyes besides fear and determination. I see hope. That's not complicated. That's a gift. Before I can respond, the surgeon appears in his blue scrubs. We both stand, hearts pounding. The surgery went well, he says, and Mama sobs with relief. We removed the affected tissue, and the lymph nodes look clean. He'll need chemotherapy, but his prognosis is excellent. Strong kid. I can't speak around the lump in my throat. Can only nod while tears stream down my face. Can we see him? Mama asks. He's in recovery. Give it another hour, then you can sit with him. When the surgeon leaves, Mama and I hold each other and cry, the good kind of crying, the kind that releases months of terror. I text Darius. Surgery successful. He's going to be okay. His response is immediate. Thank God. I'm so relieved. Call me later when you can. The next 3 days blur together in a haze of hospital visits and sleep deprivation. Malik wakes up groggy but smiling, cracking jokes about his cool scar, even though he's obviously in pain. Mama never leaves his side. I handle logistics, coordinate with insurance, make sure bills get paid. On day 4, I finally return to the hotel room and actually sleep for more than 2 hours straight. When I wake up, there are 17 missed calls. 3 from Keisha, 5 from Rebecca, 9 from Darius. My stomach drops. I call Keisha first. What happened? Where have you been? She practically yells. There's a situation. A big one. What kind of situation? Someone leaked internal emails between you and Darius. Personal emails. The kind that make it very clear you're more than co-workers. The room spins. What? How? We don't know yet, but Metropolitan Magazine is running a story tomorrow. They're calling it Virgin Secretary Part 2, The Receipts. Rebecca's trying to get an injunction, but it doesn't look good. I sink onto the bed, mind racing. What do the emails say? Keisha hesitates. Amara, they're from before the surgery, before you went public with the relationship status. It makes it look like you were lying during the press conference. Bile rises in my throat. We weren't together then. We were just figuring things out. I know that. You know that. But optics don't care about context. I hang up and immediately call Darius. He answers on the first ring. I've been trying to reach you, he says, voice tight with stress. I was at the hospital. Malik had complications. He's fine now, but I couldn't. I stop, forcing myself to focus. Keisha told me about the emails. Someone hacked the company server, he says. Targeted our personal correspondence specifically. This was planned. Malicious. Do we know who? Rebecca's investigating, but... He trails off. But what? Lionel Crane, he says heavily. The VP I fired. He's been posting on social media about corruption and favoritism. This has his fingerprints all over it. I remember Lionel, the man who deleted those files to frame me, who got caught and fired in disgrace. Of course he'd want revenge. What do we do? I ask. You stay with your brother, Darius says firmly. Let me handle this. Darius, if those emails make us both look like liars, then we tell the truth. He interrupts. We explain that feelings develop naturally over time, that we kept them private out of respect for your career, that we weren't together during the press conference, but we are now. It's messy, but it's honest. And if the board forces you out this time? Silence stretches between us, heavy with everything we're not saying. Then they force me out, he finally says. But I'm not abandoning you. Not again. My chest tightens. You never abandoned me. I let you face that press conference alone. We faced it together. I correct him. And we'll face this together too. I'm coming back. Amara, your brother, is recovering beautifully. Mama's here. The doctors say everything looks good. I stand up, already mentally packing. I'm not letting you take this hit alone while I hide in Atlanta. We're partners now. That means something. I can hear the emotion in his voice when he speaks. When did you get so brave? When I met someone worth being brave for. I tell him. I book a red-eye flight and arrive in New York at 6 a.m. Darius is waiting at my apartment when I get there, looking like he hasn't slept in days. You didn't have to come, he says, but he pulls me into his arms like he's been drowning and I'm air. Yes, I did. I murmur against his chest. We spend the morning with Rebecca, strategizing responses. The leaked emails are intimate but not inappropriate. Talking about fears, dreams, the careful dance of two people falling for each other while trying to maintain professionalism. Out of context, they look damning. In context, they're just human. We need to own it, Rebecca finally says. Stop apologizing for having feelings. Stop acting like a relationship between two consenting adults is scandalous. Just be honest. That's what we've been trying to do, I point out. No, she says sharply. You've been trying to control the narrative, manage perceptions, stay ahead of scandal. I'm saying stop managing and start living. The people who want to believe the worst will believe it regardless. Focus on the ones who actually care about truth. It's risky, reckless even, but also liberating. Metropolitan Magazine runs their story that afternoon. The emails read exactly as invasive as they feel. Private conversations stripped of context and weaponized for clicks. But this time, we don't schedule a press conference or issue formal statements. Instead, I post a photo on the youth program's social media. It's from last month, me surrounded by kids from the coding class, all of us laughing at something ridiculous. The caption reads, "This is what matters. Not gossip. Not assumptions. Impact. If you want to judge me on results." Darius reshares it with his own caption, "She's right. Do better." Simple. Direct. Unapologetic. The response is mixed, supporters rallying, critics doubling down, most people just exhausted by the drama. But something shifts. The story loses momentum. Other scandals take over news cycles. Life moves on. 2 weeks later, the board holds another vote. This time about whether workplace relationships between executives and employees should be prohibited. Victoria Chin makes an impassioned speech about power dynamics and ethics. Then she proposes an amendment. Relationships are allowed if disclosed to HR, if both parties are adults without direct supervisory chains, and if regular ethics reviews are conducted. The motion passes 8-4. Darius and I fill out the paperwork that afternoon. Is this finally the end of their troubles? Or is there one more storm coming? And what about Lionel Crane? Did he really act alone? Stay tuned for the final chapter. 6 months later, everything has changed and nothing has changed. I still run the youth program. Still arrive early and stay late. Still fight for every kid who walks through our doors looking for hope. The difference is now when I work late, Darius often brings dinner to my office, and we eat together while reviewing proposals. The difference is I don't go home to an empty apartment anymore. The difference is I wake up next to someone who sees me, really sees me, and doesn't try to make me smaller to fit into his world. Malik finished his chemotherapy last month. He's in remission, growing stronger every day. Mama quit one of her jobs and started taking art classes at the community college, something she gave up 30 years ago when she got pregnant with me. She sends me pictures of her paintings, bold colors, strong lines, beauty emerging from struggle. The youth program received a major grant from the Gates Foundation. We're expanding to 5 new locations across the city. I hired Keisha as deputy director, and we're training a whole team of coordinators who actually care about the kids instead of treating them like statistics.